Checkpoint Theatre presents Vulnerable, written and performed by Cheyenne Alexandria Phillips, dramaturged and directed by Jose Sulaiman, with music and sound design by Shah Tahir. 7. New Year, New Start.
My post-pandemic bucket list. Get a haircut. Go to the movies. Go skydiving, with or without my cardiologist. Be first aid certified. Use my passport. Have a drink by the beach. Vacation with my friends. Backpack somewhere. Perform more. Feast at an all-you-can-eat buffet without needing to be served. Go back to the gym. Teach in person again. Apply for my graduate degree. Buy new hiking boots. Go dancing. Have a barbecue at East Coast Park. Go to the live animal park without booking a time slot. Hug my friends. Use my tour guide license. Stay out at a bar after 10:30 p.m. Watch New Year fireworks in person. Hide all the face masks. Give up my mask modeling career that did not take off. Apply for a holiday work visa to anywhere. Work in a bookstore. Buy new shoes. Be comfortable having last-minute plans without needing to check crowd levels. Visit family in Australia. Visit friends around the world. Learn how to use physical money again. Go back to normal, whatever that might be. Accidentally find my tattered vaccination card years later at the bottom of a drawer. Explain to the next generation why we needed it. Breathe easy. (2021) goals. 1st January 2021. The only thing I am anticipating this year is my vaccine shot. At my last appointment, my cardiologist said she was going to put me on the list to receive it. There's a list? I go back in a couple of weeks to see if I am eligible to be jabbed in the arm for the COVID-19 vaccine. Am I vulnerable enough to take it, or too vulnerable that a vaccine could cause complications? That's the question, isn't it? Surrounding this pandemic. How vulnerable are we really? Who is more vulnerable? Who is less? Who do we count as weak or strong? Who can run the race and not be left behind? 2020 was hard because I had to face this question every single day. Outside was where I worked, where I gathered my energy from, and now it was a dangerous place. Inside kept me safe, but I don't think it kept me sane. The word vulnerable was a slap in the face. I still don't know how I woke up every day and managed to take it. Exercise. Dad and I signed up for an online walk of the Great Ocean Road. It's a nice idea. You sign up and they send you e-postcards along the way when you reach certain milestones. It's 239.8 km. I, the heart patient, am going to walk 239.8 km with my marathon running, triathlon doing, 5-time Ironman father. I did not think this true. We walk around the neighborhood, out of sight from aunties with cameras. In gardens behind glass towers, trails built in circles, rounds make the distance. Every starting step is filled with optimism and hope. Every ending step begs for relief. Every step in between is on a spectrum. This is not so bad. 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 Ironman Dad isn't breaking a sweat. And I look like a cherry tomato. We aren't going that fast. Some uncle overtook us. I can't tell if it's sweat or tears. Water is pouring out of my head. Dad turns a corner in the opposite direction of home. Oh my God, I'm going to die. We take a shortcut. Okay, shortcut is good. That was 4 km. Only 235.8 more to go. Fevers, tracing and testing. 2nd January 2021. Yesterday, my sister had a fever. Not a high fever, a borderline fever, but still a fever. I've been retracing every step I took, every step she took, every step my parents took. I'm thinking about the last 2 weeks and everyone we've been in contact with, wondering if we invited COVID into our house over Christmas, wondering if a relative, a friendly face, carried something unknown into our home. A few weeks ago, my sister's friend, a flight stewardess, was informed that she was on a flight with a passenger who tested positive for COVID-19. The protocol then was that flight crew need not serve stay-home notice after flights. In between the time my sister's friend disembarked and the passenger tested positive, she had dinner with her grandparents, her family, and my sister. Upon the discovery of the COVID-positive passenger, my sister's flight stewardess friend was called up to serve stay-home notice for 14 days from the date her flight landed. It had already been 12 days since. She had been out and about, potentially carrying, potentially transmitting, potentially exposing. She stayed in her stay-home notice facility for 1 day. She tested negative and was sent home. My aunt, who is also a stewardess, on her stretch to retirement, sent my mum a photo of her in her new uniform. You can barely recognize the kabaya under all the PPE. It felt like a terrible mishmash of Halloween costumes. I don't know if this is the best way to fly anymore. In the news as well is a marine surveyor and a harbour pilot testing positive for COVID-19. The marine sector was always going to be a risk. Dad works in shipping. The team goes to shipyards and harbours regularly. The Maritime Port Authority makes them take regular swab tests every 2 weeks. Dad does not go to these places, so he doesn't need to take a swab test. But he gets regular updates on how the rest of the company is doing. When they schedule the next test, you know it's negative, he says. There hasn't been the case of someone not getting a new testing date. Dad assumes that if anyone tests positive, they will be placed under stay-home notice immediately, and all close contacts will be notified, including him. Still don't know where my sister's fever could have come from, if it is COVID or not. Maybe it's the stress we place on the new year. Maybe it is the job interviews she has lined up. We are monitoring her for now. Mom says that if she doesn't feel better, she will have to go to the doctor. Study group. The ultrasound technician tells me to breathe out, and my glasses fog up from the air escaping my mask. It has moved out of place of the perfect no fogging position during the 45-minute procedure. When she is done, she leaves me to get dressed while she calls a colleague in. I'm still cleaning off the ultrasound gel when she returns and begins her little study session of my images. Yeah, because it's font 10, so I wasn't sure. It's always so hard to read the... I don't pay attention anymore. I'm not textbook. I'm one of those curveball case studies they throw at medical students just to see how they will react. A couple of years ago, I was hospitalized, and a senior nurse brought all the nursing students from Nanyang Polytechnic around just to show me off, like I was an endangered species. Maybe I was. In university, I offered my ECG report to some medical school friends who were curious. Instead of studying for finals, they stared at that thing for more than an hour. I get it. That's how rare this is. That's how uncommon this is. That's how not normal I am. Sometimes I wish they would wait 5 minutes for me to leave the room before they start their study group. But they don't. Wintering. With uncanny foresight, an author named Catherine May comes out with a book called Wintering in 2020. It's not about the pandemic. It's about the mental state that people can fall into when going through a deep personal crisis. It's the idea that there are periods in our lives where we need to retreat from the world and rest, catch our breath, and readjust so that we are able to cope with the difficulties life might bring. Life cannot be all la-di-da summer-like happiness. There will be periods of isolation and pain, where we take stock before we try again. I should admit there are chapters I don't enjoy in this book. Yet, it's the overarching metaphor that fascinates me. When terrible times come at us, the best move might be to retreat into ourselves, allow for the cold wind to blow while we focus on the essentials for survival. In countries where winter is a season, many would see vegetation in a suspended state and some animals go into hibernation or torpor. They wait out the harsh conditions until they can emerge ready and strong. In Singapore, every day is summer. Wintering is foreign to us. Maybe this is why I'm curious about this imagery. I like it better than pivot. Pivot feels like a sharp turn, a point where force must be exerted to create an action. That cramped apartment staircase in Friends. When various industries were called to upgrade and pivot, it meant derailing current operations, jumping tracks while the train was going at full speed. It is scary and potentially dangerous, but in situations like this, if we don't jump track, we will fall off a cliff. Not really much of an option. That is what I don't like about the word pivot. All it tells you to do is to turn. It doesn't tell you where or if the place you turn towards would be better than the place you are now. To pivot is to commit to a change in action. To winter is to commit to growth. It is to know that at the end of this painful period, there is a sunny day. Maybe in that time you downsize. You focus on the things that ease you back into springtime, where you are productive and can bear the fruits of your labor. It is very transformative language, which was why I was drawn to the book in the first place. The pandemic is hard for everyone. We don't always have to brave the storm to steer our ships into the promise of calm waters. Sometimes we just have to bunker down, hold out, and secure ourselves until the clouds dissipate. I didn't want to be part of this canon of COVID literature. There will be hundreds, if not thousands, of other artists that try and encapsulate this time in their own way. They will try to make sense of it in their own medium. Soon this canon will be oversaturated, and we will be done with this era of art making and find ways to move on. For now, I have to write what I know. And what I know is that 2020 was the coldest year in my existence. I've gone from one Chinese New Year to another, waiting for the sun to come out, while I keep my ship steady in the frigid and stormy waters. By the way, does anyone know what happened at the end of that Friends episode? It's called The One with the Cop, Season 5, Episode 16. They fail to bring the couch up the stairs. In fact, they get stuck trying to do so. The outro is Ross trying to return the couch. A wide shot follows, showing that the couch has been cut in half. Pivoting is not always a good thing. Sometimes it tears you apart.
Vulnerable is developed and produced by Checkpoint Theatre. To support the creation of original Singapore work, please make a donation to Checkpoint Theatre at www.giving.sg. Checkpoint Theatre's Vulnerable, produced by Jose Sulaiman and Claire Wong, written and performed by Cheyenne Alexandria Phillips, dramaturged and directed by Jose Sulaiman, sound engineering, music and sound design by Shah Tahir, production stage manager is Sumono, assistant dramaturg Mal Yen Tay, marketing and publicity by Lam Ishon and Jane Lim, additional support by Nicole Wong. If you have the time, we would love to hear from you. Please give us your feedback by following the link in this episode's description.